Derrick Washington. I'm with Blitz Express. It's a family-owned business. Well, first of all, I'd like to say good afternoon to the real superheroes in the trucking business.
Yeah.
You know, the safety. You know, those are the real heroes. You know.
Right.
I'm with Blitz Express. We're small. Well, we are growing, but small business. When I started with them, they only had 9 trucks, not 9 new trucks, just 9 trucks. And the oldest thing we have on the fleet now is 2015, and we have a fleet of 72 with 30 or so trucks coming in over the next 60 days. So with that growth, you know, it was easy to keep up with the safety and the logs and all that good stuff with 20 trucks, but it's even with just 72, and I'm pretty sure some of you guys probably got 100, 200, 300 trucks.
Yeah.
And this program actually will allow you to run so much more efficient because when we got into it, the hardest thing, which I'm sure everybody in the room have, the dinosaur truckers. The flip phones, call them the dinosaurs, but you're able to really evolve those guys with it also. So that was one of the good things about it. But I mean, the program itself, hands down, it changed the whole dynamics of our company. Number one, truckers don't like to be bothered. So when you have to give them this content, they have to read it, they have to go through the videos, they tend to want to just do right. What I say, they want to do right. So, but I just had an audit on last Tuesday, and just without no sweat. So
That's good to hear.
So for that audit, did you reach out to your client service rep to get any information, or were you able to pull it up there?
she give me so much, Leslie. She is just she is phenomenal.
We didn't plan that answer. We really didn't.
Yeah, no, she really is phenomenal, and she was actually able to incorporate a few things that we do. Like we work off the OmniTrax. We try PeopleNet, Teletrack, all these other companies, but OmniTrax was the one for us, and she was able to incorporate some OmniTrax info for the drivers that were not really familiar with the e-log system. And we could just easily email that to them on their phones. They look at it at nighttime when they're, in the sleeper berth. So that's a really, really good thing. I mean, even just my pre-hire packet that she put together for me with the hours of service, just things that guys should know coming into orientation. And the one really, really good thing about the way that she structured it for us, when you send that content to a driver, because we hire from all over, when you send that to a guy out in Georgia and he takes the time and he goes through the videos, because we got them lined up for probably about 45 minutes to an hour. When they go through that content and they actually test on it, that lets us know that this guy is for real about being, in the business. He wants to come to work. Because we send the content to a lot of drivers and they never do the videos, and it allows us right then, because we've spent I can't tell you countless times, buying a bus ticket for a guy, buying a plane ticket, $600 plane ticket. They don't show up for the plane or the bus, But since we incorporated this with the pre-hire orientation videos, number one, it cuts down a whole day on orientation. We can get them in one day, send them out the next day. Or depending on what time they come in, it's not a 3-day process, 3 full days that we're losing, revenue with these guys. And they're coming in already with the knowledge on the hours of service, accident, cell phone, text and driving. We send them all of that. The content alone is so vast that you could choose from. It's anything that's out there, illegal lane change, backing. I mean, it's at parking. Even educating guys, when guys have non-preventable accidents, we're able to send them, stuff to just be aware of the surroundings. Because I can't tell you, during that audit, the DOT officer was looking at those logs, and we were in citations and things that we had, and every single time he said, well, what'd you do about it? Oh, well, here you go. Corrective action. The corrective action is
Good to hear.
I mean, so they made a believer out of me, and the thing about it, it wasn't me. I believed in the product, but when you're trying to sell this off to your company, you know, because nobody cares about safety until somebody get ran over. To be honest with you, you know, they just don't. They rather spend the money in other areas, you know. So the one thing was me convincing the owners, you know, this is the product. We need to go with this, you know, and they finally, you know, he told me, he said, well, if you can get all the equipment moving, we'll go with it. So I did that, and he gave it a shot, and he loves it. Best thing we could have done.
So from an audit perspective, all the content, they were cool with it. It's
Everything, because we had a driver, we had an illegal backing citation, we had speeding citation, we had illegal lane change. So all of that content is actually in it's in the product. So you can actually document that, send the driver the content. Once he finishes it, it'll send you a certificate, and you can actually give that to the driver. So you're showing that you're actually trying to do something to make sure that your company is safe out there. And that's the one thing that really eat us up, you know, when we get these audits, is the safety, because they don't care about anything other than that. You know, they want to see the safety part of it.
Fantastic.
Yeah.
Other questions?
You mentioned Evolve and the flip phone drivers.
Yeah.
How did you do that?
Well, what we had to do with those guys, and most of them are our truck drivers that's already on the fleet. Most of the guys that come in, they're already tech savvy. We would bring them into the yard over at the yard, and they would do testing. We set up computer everything with just strictly the vertical alliance, and they would just go into the office and test like that if it was something that they needed to do. Another good thing about the product is when you hire someone, you send them out the pre-hire orientation videos, and once they get there, Leslie, my customer service rep, who's a Chicago Bears fan, so we kind of enemies by nature, she set it up the first month through the 6th month that you send videos to those guys, you know, just on different safety aspects. And one of the things that'll really help you out is when you pull the PSP, you can see where they had problems in the past, and you can send them that content. So, I mean, because I've been through a deposition before, and the first thing, when they pull those records for that driver, and they'll ask you, you know, well, did you know that this guy was a reckless driver? He had this on his PSP and this and that. Yes, sir, I did, and we did a corrective action for that and gave him training on that. So you showing that you doing what you needed to do to put this guy in the truck.
Right.
Because even though you can look at it and put him in there, you know, they tear you apart in deposition.
So when it went, go back to the flip phone guys, because that's what we're going to look at specifically.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, you know, we're at 768 trucks. So I mean, we got a lot of old school guys. Some of these guys have been driving for us for 30 years,
Mm-hmm.
and they're flip phone dinosaur truck drivers. They're old school as it gets.
Well, for us being a smaller company, it works easier for us. I would suggest that the company would get something for those guys, like maybe a tablet. You know, tablets are like $80 now. Get them a tablet, something that they could, you know, get on the Wi-Fi and the truck stops in. Because this is something that, when I tell you, these guys kind of got it early. You know, they seen it. So, but this is something you're really not going to be able to get away from. It's too much paperwork. I couldn't imagine doing 700 truck safety without having this product. I just, you know, even with from the time we got it, when we got it, we had 52 trucks, and now we have 72. And this was just in July when I came here with these guys. So, you know, we're growing like that. And before, man, I'll be honest with you, it was a mess because I do recruiting and I do safety. So it was just a mess. I mean, you can only do so much. So,
Is there a limit to the number of administrators?
No. A lot of companies too, with that number of trucks, they create terminals where they do have the training available, where a driver can then go there and log in and complete their training. If it's like a monthly or what have you.
You're
Now,
talking about a machine.
Yeah.
We're good with that.
Yeah.
What I'm curious of, just the administrator who has the ability to assign.
whoever you want that to be.
Okay.
Now, you
Yeah,
can
we-
actually, we'll talk about it tomorrow, but you can set up what we call a group administrator. They can just manage the group of drivers that they're responsible for. So it might be one person at one terminal. In some companies, it's a dispatcher that maybe have 30 or 40 drivers, and they have some responsibility for that group.
Well, along that line, so if we wanted a certain training session to go to, say, just drivers or just dispatchers, can you group the people that are going to receive the training? That way you don't have to go through and click
Yes.
all these
Absolutely.
drivers?
Yeah.
Okay.
It's probably more common that way than individual assignments.
Yeah, question?
Yeah, when you, corrective action, when you have one driver that, let's say, got a ticket, for example, do you send it out to everyone?
No, it's just that
Specific
particular,
person.
yeah, it's that particular driver.
Okay.
And that's one of the good things about it. I mean, you don't, it's not like a Qualcomm's like sending a fleet message. Like if anything happens for a specific driver, you can send it to that specific driver,
And the other question is on the PSP, when you came on board, you guys had 50 trucks. So I'm sure you had some violations before the vertical lines product. What did you guys do? Did you go back?
We went back, yeah.
Okay.
We went back because the thing about it is, we got guys that I've been with the company for a total of 5 years, and we went through in December. We went through a lot of the PSPs, and we were just sending guys corrective action because at the end of the day, when these guys get out there and they have an accident and they pull the record, they'll go back 10 years, just to try to prove negligence, on the company. And it'll also, some of these guys have so many violations, like a lot of owner operators. That's where we were having the most issue, is the owner operators with their PSPs. That was a big issue for us. But we got them corrective action on a lot of the things that they had on the PSP. So, yeah.
Anyway, talk to me a little bit about the pre-hire process that was put together by your client, whatever you call
Client service
it.
rep.
Yeah,
Leslie.
exactly what they consist of.
Well, when we hire these guys, we bring them in because we train them on the Omnitracks. So I was thinking about what I talk about in orientation, because I spent a whole 2 days, doing what you guys are doing now in orientation. So what I had her do was put together me the pre-trip files, videos, hours of service, and a couple videos with what's his name, Dean Huth, yeah, Dean Huth, and it's just vast content of things that you should know, like pre-tripping and stuff like that, hours of service mostly. And when you're sending the guys that information, it lets you know, kind of gauge where they're at, and it shows you if they had to take the test 5 times, it shows you that driver has an issue with the 8-2 split. He really doesn't understand it. So you kind of want to educate them on that. So
You doing this with somebody that's already approved and ready to come down for orientation, but this is pre-training before they get to orientation.
It's pre-training before they come. And like I said, when a guy's at home and he's doing those videos and he gets it done, they'll let you know that that guy is serious about coming on board, because we hire a lot from out of town.
Mm-hmm.
And the pre-hire videos, once they do them, they come in. Even if we get some guys that don't finish them, but we lodge them over at the Holiday Inn. They have the computers there. They just finish them there. But the content that she put in it, you can actually make up your own content, like something that you want them to know. It doesn't have to be necessarily, hours of service or anything like that. Whatever.
You guys will shoot them an email to have a user password and log into the pre-hire.
Exactly. And what we do is we set their user and their password up the same way we set them up in the Qualcomm. So they're already familiar with that when they get ready to log into the Qualcomm. It's the same. So
How much information did you find a sweet spot in how much information you?
I did.
Did not give them? I mean, what was?
I did.
What was not?
Well, in about 45 minutes to an hour, I send the pre-trip, the hours of service, which when you click the hours of service on there, it brings down like the 14-hour rule, the break, all of these things, So we used to show these videos also in a break room, with these guys watching them, and they, so I mean, it puts them straight to sleep. But I found just the content that I needed, which again, it's so vast, and it just wherever you feel like you having problems within your company, the things that you see the most, you can send that to those guys before they even get there, just to see exactly how much do they know about certain things. So it's a very it lets you know, kind of where you're at with that driver.
Now, when they complete that pre-training, do they receive the certification that they bring on to you?
They receive, no, we receive the certification. You can set up the receive, they can receive it if you set it up for them to receive it, but what we do is, we just get it and we put it in a file, in their files. And it's a full completed, certificate, you know, completed hours of service, completed, you know, proper back and completed, you know, hours of service, whatever you put it there, you get them, it'll give you the certificates for it, which was really good because when the guy was asking about what do we do about it, we were able to show him that this guy tested on this assignment and he completed it, you know, and all of that's in the folder, so.
Our average orientation that we see amongst our clients do range from about 45 minutes to an hour and 15 minutes.
Okay.
So you've offered them, you know, the job and it's a pre-hire, you know, orientation thing. There are some drivers that might not do it. Have you had that situation?
That's not the guy for you. That is not the guy
So
for
you
you. If they don't do the pre-hire orientation, then you gotta wonder how's the guy gonna interact with your dispatch? How's he gonna communicate? You know, because he's at home alone doing this. So, I mean, if he doesn't
There's
have,
no reason.
if he doesn't have the time to do this at home, how much time is he really gonna put into the safety on the actual truck, you know, period.
Yeah.
You know, and what I like about it is I get guys that, you know, do 8-minute pre-trips, do 10-minute pre-trips when we require them to do 15. And I'll send them a video and I'll tell them, you know, hey, you gotta get this done, you know, by the end of the week because you've done it 2 or 3 times or if they have an hours of service violation. And also we pay, we have orientation pay. So it's part of the orientation pay for you to have those videos done. If you don't payroll, they look and see if they have the videos done. If they do, they'll pay them the orientation pay.
Do y'all do any recurring, weekly, monthly required?
You can do it however you want to do it.
I'm asking to you.
Well, we do it monthly. We do it monthly for a lot of the new hires. If drivers hadn't had any issues, we don't send them anything. But for the most part, I mean, you can ask if they change any type of rule in the FMCA, you can send them that.
Okay.
You know, anything that you need them to know, you can send it to them.
So all right, so let's say there was a new rule come out, and it's hypothetical, right?
Mm-hmm.
New rule comes out, you type it up, and it's a PDF or whatever, you get it on there and it's on there. You got 70 some odd trucks, 60 or 70 drivers, right?
Mm-hmm.
What do you do for non-compliance? In other words, you got that one cowboy that he just has bucked you the whole time. Have you had that issue?
I have had that issue.
So how did y'all?
I'm gonna log him out of that Qualcomm, and I'll tell his
Shut him
dispatcher.
down.
Yeah, I tell his dispatcher. You know, he got videos that's 7 days. I gave him 14 days to do them, and he's 7 days overdue. So once he delivers, he's not moving. You know, from that spot because I'll log him out of the
Put him
Qualcomm.
in a hold status until he gets.
I do, and I literally sit and I wait for the phone to ring. You know, I do.
Because you know it's coming.
Yeah, it's coming. I wait for the phone to ring, but the thing about
Operator?
no,
Dispatcher wants
well,
to easy to roll?
dispatcher called me, but the thing about it, see, the dispatch really work with me because they know that I really don't play when it comes down to that. Because you guys got to understand when it hit the fan, you know who they coming to.
Yeah.
You know, who they gonna come to. You know, so that's the one thing. Yeah, I don't play about it. But yeah, I've had to do that a few times, and I think it's starting to spread around now that you know.
Yeah, news travels fast.
Oh yeah.
Have you ever
Well,
been challenged by the management when you put somebody on hold, and man, we need to move that along?
every other time I do it,
And what,
I think this is my job. It's my job to make sure that now what we can do is that you had an issue with this guy. Now, what are you gonna do? How hot is that load if he goes out there and he smacks somebody, you know, down the road, or somebody even just run in front of him? You know, they're always gonna try to prove the negatives, and he just got a violation, which we could have shown we had corrective action if we didn't have the hot load. You know, and the thing about it is I just put it right back on them because when I shut them down, they've had 2 weeks to do it, and I give them another week. You know, so. And I'll even tell the dispatch, hey, it's been a week. I'll send them an email, hey, it's been a week, you guys still haven't done this video. So, third week, I mean, I have no sympathy at all.
How many guys are utilizing the third week before they actually take the course?
Almost every one of them.
The ones you was keeping at too.
Yeah, almost every one of them.
But
But
you know, they talk and they'll say, hey, you gotta give you 2 weeks, but
Ain't gonna give
you
you
really
another
gotta go into that third week, so you got really 3 weeks.
you know, as long as they can get it done. But if it's someone that's like, if it's one of my guys like that had I had one guy, he got a citation for backing. I only gave him 3 days. You know, like those guys like that get citations, I'll give them 3 days to get it done. And depending on the situation where they're going, you know, I tell them, hey, when you get over to South Carolina, you drop the load, you get to the truck stop, I need you to do these videos. And we're still small enough, you know, right now to where, you know, it'd be 8 o'clock at night, you know, and I could just look on the Untitled Chapter, see that he's sitting, and I'll call him. You know, because I just do not want those issues, man. I've been through a deposition, and I never ever want to do that ever again. And you know, it was horrible. So.
One thing in regards to regulations that you had mentioned, we do put out content when regulations change, and we put that out before that takes place or on the day of, depending on when the information is released. So we will update that, and that's not included as part of the content we release monthly.
You know, I'm glad you mentioned that, because that is a question I had. If you guys are gonna keep the regulations out there if they come along. Now, that will be something that will be shot, like for instance, to all customers without automatically,
Yes.
they log in and boom,
Correct.
there it is.
Correct.
Okay.
Is there some type of DVIR included in the?
Vehicle inspection report.
Right.
Yeah, there isn't a way to do that. I mean, you can send the documents into the system and they can download them out of there. The problem is they can't sign them and return them within the system.
Okay.
Now, we've got a product that's coming that will do those things. We're well underway with that. That'll make the system able to
So in addition to the
put
video,
documents
we also
back and forth.
DVIR and
Yes, it will be like a dynamic checklist, so like a pre-trip can be done and then automatically signed and electronically sent, that's what's coming.
it's good.
Any other questions? Well, y'all have some great questions, I gotta tell you.
Well, I've been through it. I tell you,
Yeah.
this thing is actually it changed the whole dynamics of our company, the way that we do things, because we were so small, and you really don't realize how much content you're missing until something happens. And man, do you know how long it takes to document all this stuff, like, you know, corrective action and, you know, just doing everything by paper on hand? I mean, it's like, I delegated now. I have 2 other guys that work with me. So, you know, I got guys, you know, I'll put together a set of videos and, you know, just tell them to send, because you can put together your own content.
Yeah.
And Leslie, she really, she probably trained me too well on it, because she'll tell you, I very seldom call her now, you know, for anything, because she helped me.
Leslie did know you were coming, she said the Packers are bench warmers.
Okay.
What's your turnover since you guys went to Vertical Alliance?
Not
The total trucks?
The turnover of personnel.
Oh, as far as the drivers?
Right.
Well, it went down drastically, and the reason why is because we were able to kind of negate through.
Right.
Yeah, we kind of negate through the guys that we bring in through the videos and getting that done. Because honestly, if we send 10 out, you know, we can probably get 3 done. And these are guys that we've already put the work in, ran everything on them. But then, and we get them the videos while we, you know, doing everything, and we'll be done with the paperwork, ready for them to come. They had the videos for 5 days and still not done. You know.
Once your owner greenlighted going onto the system, how long did it take for you and your crew to actually get up to speed and start to implement?
Immediately, but it was a nightmare.
Really?
It was. It was a nightmare, because you got these guys, you know, they kind of been trained with bad habits. So a lot of things that we were doing was a lot of corrective action. It was a lot of corrective action, and it was so funny. I had a driver. He got a citation for illegal backing, and he said, and I sent him the videos, and he was like, I graduated the Smith system and this and that. You know, went to CRST. I was like, he's like, so you mean, he said, I don't really think I need to watch the video. And I was like, well, you got an illegal back. And he was like, so you mean to tell me I can't back up with my flashes on? I said, hence the reason why you need to watch the video. So you get the guys like that think that they know more than the system. But
Oh, yeah.
yeah, it was.
See, we're probably 9/10 of our guys are cattle haulers, so you got even that working against us.
Oh, yeah.
So it's
Well,
it's gonna be tough to educate them, but you did get them on board.
I did get them on board, and I mean, it is a must-have because now that everything is going electronic, I am telling you, when that guy is standing in front of you and he has that paper in front of him with all your unsafe driving and the citations that you get, because you don't think about it until you see it as a whole, and he's gonna ask you, what did you do about this?
Yeah.
That's a lot of paperwork you got to have if you handwriting and you filing all these hard copies. That's a lot of paperwork. And even, you can go back into the content and just look and see who did what. The driver just put the name in, it shows you everything that they done. Even if you're not, putting it out on a hard copy, and you can print it out. And we have that for every single driver that has had an issue. And I mean, it's out there. I mean, this is the most imperfect business I think in the industry, period.
Come on, man, come on.
No, man, it really is. It's one of the most undesirable positions that's out there because you're away from your family, honestly. So, it's really not easy to antagonize or aggravate these guys over the road. But, for the most part, I think what really helped me to connect with these guys, I sold them on the fact that I am doing this for your own good.
Yep.
I'm doing this for you. Because if they sue, they're gonna sue you too.
That's how it works.
Does the system, can you guys report out, can we track how many times they fail a test?
Yep.
And it's there for us to view. Can you set thresholds?
But you want them to all be 100.
Well, but if I set a threshold, if you fail the test three times,
Oh yeah.
you're fired,
No,
right?
that you can't.
No,
You
can't
can
do
get the reporting, and you will get notification that they failed it that many
Yeah.
times.
And then I have to track it myself.
You would get the
Set the
notification in your email. Yeah, you can set that up.
And that's a definite help when you, like I said, when you bringing these guys in, when you're hiring them. The pre-hire thing is the biggest thing because we never know who we're gonna get.
Yeah.
The employment verification is only gonna tell you so much. But the educational part of it, I call it my trucker IQ test.
Yeah.
And when I see the guys have to take a certain test for, 5 times,
Yeah.
when he comes in, that's something that I'll, work with him one-on-one because I know that somewhere down the line you don't understand. And that's about 99% of the time since I've been doing it, that's what it's been. He's like, man, I just don't understand this 8-2 split, or I don't understand. I thought the 8-hour break, was I had 8 hours of drive time.
Right.
So
No.
it's. I mean, believe it or not, man, you got
They don't
guys.
know.
You got guys that's out there. They just don't know.
They don't know. Welcome to the whole field.
Oh yeah, yeah. You got guys out there. I mean, if they didn't go to CRST or if they went to like a little 30-day trucking school, they. And then they got out there in the business and never worked with the bigger companies, so they didn't have a set of guidelines to go by. I'll be the first to tell you, I drove a truck. I still have CDL, all of that. So I came out of truck driving school. It took me, I didn't even learn to legally do a logbook till a year after I was even in the business. A year after, because I mean, it was just easier to not do it legal.
Yep. Yep.
So, a lot of these guys, they coming from there, especially the guys that are coming on that's never worked at E-Log. Man.
Well, it rocks their world.
Yeah.
And what's difficult about it is
Yeah.
nothing changed. Hours of service didn't change.
Nothing's changed.
It's just you don't put it on paper and you can't pencil whip it to death.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Or have a second
Can't
set.
Right.
project the
It's-
reflect.
So
That's
like a
right.
sand hauler out in the oil field, they just, E-Logs are gonna ruin our livelihood. And I'm like, hours of service didn't change, guys.
Right.
So what are you trying to tell the industry?
It's
at
harder
all?
to achieve.
So,
Yeah, that's one of my favorite things. The OmniTracks and this system that we use with them, because with the OmniTrack, every morning I come in, I see who had an hours of service violation. If I get a guy that's got a 15-minute hours of service violation, I'm sending him a corrective action.
Good.
You know, I'll send it, you know, immediately, and I'll talk to him over the phone. Then I'll document that because we use 10th Street also.
Yep.
So I document it on this 10th Street. You know, I document it on their file. And we have a safety bonus also.
Yeah.
So, you know, all of that.
can you
Put it all
integrate?
together.
So I'm gonna make this challenging. So that's a great example of, hey, he got this citation, I need to do a corrective action. Can you automate that if our systems talk to each other?
And it will automatically talk to our platform, it will assign it, and it will report back what he did.
So what is 10th Street?
That's nice, that's nice.
10th
It's
Street.
like a driver
10th
qualification
Street.
system.
10th Street is the next evolution of employment for truck drivers. I tell every driver, if you don't have driver posts on your phone, what are you really doing out here? And it makes it honestly, it kind of hurts us as a company because drivers, you know, they can just put their names in and send their application out to just anybody. You know, if they want to apply CRST, all they got to do is pull them up, and their application's already uploaded. You know,
That's what that
through
pre-hire
IntelliApp.
application too helps you guys out, because
Oh,
so
yeah.
many people are just throwing out.
Stops
their-
that.
It helps us out big time. I love the 10th Street because I'm able to get the driver's license, medical card, all of that stuff. They submit that through 10th Street, so I have all of my information before these guys even come because you know we want them to have the loan forms to match whatever's on the MVR, you know, everything, and they can upload that on the 10th Street just by taking a picture of it with the phone.
What was the app?
10th Street, TEN is TEN Street. Yeah, but yeah, that's the next evolution of for employers and the drivers out there, and that's you can actually communicate with them. So when I go in every day, I'll see what I have on 10th Street. I'll send them a message through the 10th Street app, which you know, letting them know I received it. If you change the status on it, like if you change them to recruiting or whatever, it alerts them.
Oh, wow.
So it lets them know that you're working on it.
You're working on it, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So how do you interface with 10th Street?
Through an API call, and we have several calls that send different information, and based on your company and your needs, you can set that up with your IT team. Our IT team will work with your IT team to set it up, and we'll work with your 10th Street contact. So, and I'll handle all of that conversation, you guys don't have to be involved in that.
Yeah, they do all the footwork for you. That's
What about integration with in-cab, like PeopleNet devices and your Qualcomms and stuff like that?
We haven't necessarily integrated with those, some we have. What we want to make sure is that we're compatible with the device, because some of the older devices that maybe you're speaking about not necessarily fit to screen size or things like that, so we want to definitely test that prior to getting involved in the API.
We're supposed to be getting all the new ones. It's like the size of a
Yep,
tablet.
compatible.
But generally, if they have a modern web browser built into it, they can access the system, because this is totally web-based.
And a lot of companies too, with the browsers, don't want access to the World Wide Web for all their drivers. So we do provide a whitelist that your IT team can utilize so that only certain sites can be accessed.
Is there an app?
No, we don't have.
What deal's done?
Any other questions?
That'd be easier, I guess, is what I'm getting at. If you were on a smartphone,
It
you
would
just,
be.
and then all you got is a quick login.
We'll talk about that tomorrow. There's a way to keep that on your phone, so you got one button on the home page. They touch and it goes right to the login screen. In fact, if they've logged in, it'll even save all that, and they just hit it again. They're right there.
Once you decided to go with vertical lines, how did you transition? How did you get the word out to all those 72 drivers or 52 drivers?
well.
Did you do it one-on-one? Did you bring them all down?
What I did was, I mean, it's literally impossible to get with dispatch to do that. So what I did was we used the OmniTracks. So I sent out a fleet message, you know, first, and then I started, you know, just tagging the individual guys that I needed to talk to. It's so much easier to just do that stuff from the computer, and You know, I send them, you know, login information, you know, everything on the Qual. I let them know, hey, it's the same login as your, you know, Qualcomm, and I send them the link, you know, through the Qualcomm. Or some guys I had sent through the phone, send them the link, which is easy. It's really, really easy for the drivers. The thing about it is not hard. It's
Is
easy
there a
to do.
welcome video that tells them how to use the site once they
We do.
pass their initial login?
We have pamphlet information, and yes, we do have a video that's available. The biggest problem we have is they have to access the platform to see the video, so that doesn't always work. So we do have information that you can hand out maybe with payroll or send out through the Qualcomm device or what have you. So we do provide that for you. We create that custom for you with your logo.
Yeah, that's the biggest thing is just like getting these guys on board. Like he said, you know, you got the cowboys out there that just, you know, don't want to do it. I've had drivers tell me, you know, I can't even drive, not go to school. Well, don't get an illegal lane change. You know, I got a rebuttal for everything when it comes down to safety because I'm not. If you're doing what you need to do, I'm not going to bother you anyway. So we just try to bring the guys in, our new hires. We give them content up to 6 months, and then after that, and this is content that Leslie put together for me, just different things that we want to do. You know, first, second month, third month. You know, so I mean, and it's only like maybe 25 minutes. You know, per video if they have to watch, you know, once a month. And that's when we do that for 6 months, and then we kind of just cut them loose from it until they need some. But my main thing, where my main problem come in is where I send a lot of corrective action out is hour service. Because even if they go 2 minutes over Qualcomm, it'll ding them. Yeah, so. But yeah, that's the main thing.
Thank you, Derrick. I think we'll put you out of the hot seat here. But thank you very much. That was one of the best conversations I've heard in a while.
Anytime.
Thank you.
Well, I mean, I use that thing so much, so
It sounds like it.
Man, I mean, I'm telling you, it changed my life because you got to understand, I was doing recruiting and I was doing the safety part.
You must have heard some really good guy talk to you back in July. I don't know who it was.
I don't know who it was either, but he talked me into it.
You got a jump start with 72 trucks and moving forward as you grow even
you
bigger.
guys have a terrible.
Yeah, so
You're starting off good.
yeah, and that was
That's where the group admin folks are really going to help you.
yeah, and that was the main thing that I had to convince the owner of. I was like, look, you are absolutely not going to be able to evolve this company without this product. I said, I'm telling you, you won't be able to do it.